Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Seekamentor podcast. Today we have Avisek Mishra with us, who is working as a senior director of product management at High Radius. And today, the topic that we are going to discuss is product strategy and growth hacks. So first of all, welcome to our podcast, Avisek. It's a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Aditi. Thanks. Yeah,
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your um, journey and your background in product management?
sure. Thanks. Hey, everyone. I'm Avisek. I'm a product manager for nearly a decade now. Currently, I'm a senior director of product management at High Radius, where I lead teams in building and scaling B2B SaaS products for enterprise clients. I have had the opportunity to work with diverse industries, and I'm always focused on leveraging data and insights to drive growth. I'm thrilled to be part of this session at Seekamentor, where I can share my journey, my exchange ideas around growth strategies that have helped me in my journey so far um, in in order to scale products, businesses. So looking forward to the session.
All right. Thank you so much for introduction, Abhishek. So my first question is,
Yeah.
what drove you into product management? Like, how did you start your journey? Was it like a conscious decision, or was it like you just happened to get into product management, and like how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so pretty interesting question. So I passed out from IIT Guwahati as a chemical engineer. I'll give a little bit of background of where I come from, how
Yeah,
did product management happen to me. So, and then I'll tell you my journey as to how I became a core product manager.
sure.
So as a fresh graduate out of college, I didn't know a little bit about product management as a whole. As for me, the only notion which I had about professional life was okay, not a sprint like before our exams. What we do is we rack up the speed and complete overnight and then go and pass the exams at college, right? It'll be a marathon sort of a thing which is there. I was lucky to get an opportunity at ITC. At ITC, that was my first job. I understood how various functions operate, how they collaborate with each other, and then coexist with each other to make a business successful, which is there, right?
Hmm.
That's when I got introduced to Savlon in around 2015.
Hmm.
So back in 2015, ITC had acquired Savlon from J&J, right?
Hmm.
So J&J was not doing pretty well with Savlon. That's where ITC bought it for around some 50 CR. That was the revenue which was going on over there.
Hmm.
So, so the core thing which was offered to me at the beginning was to establish the as-is manufacturing facilities within the organization, which I did with pretty good. I think my problem-solving skills were pretty good. That came naturally to me. The organization skills were good. So overall, I was doing good with the Savlon brand, and then they required a product manager role to enhance the brand and the product as a whole. And
Hmm.
that's where I applied and I got shortlisted. That was my first introduction into product management. So my journey as a product manager at ITC revolved around critical aspects such as stakeholder management, where I learned to navigate between diverse internal teams and external stakeholders, from marketing to procurement. So, like for example, for some of the packaging materials, we had to work with the Chinese vendors to get these packaging materials and everything which is there, right? One of the core aspects was to understand the needs of the consumer, which was another crucial element for me, particularly in the FMCG industry, to drive market insights out of that and build products. So in my 4 years of product management at ITC, I was able to uh, build multiple categories. Like for example, hand sanitizer was one of them, hand wash was one of them. So hand wash was something which was having a market share of less than 1% when we initially launched it or when we acquired from J&J. And now it is like what 13 to 14% of the Indian market share which is there, right? So that was a pretty good win over there. We did a lot of work around the CSR activities, which was also quite appreciated. We won the Cannes Lions Award as well. So all in all, a good head start into product management, where I understood the fundamentals of the business, like how business and customer needs coexist with each other. So that was a good start into product management. Fast forward in 2024, I'm senior director over here of product management. I lead a team of product managers over here.
Mhm.
The scale, the complexity, and the impact have grown significantly. My focus is here to ensure that the enterprise clients derive actionable insights and business value from our products. So that's something which has been quite interesting. The transition from a person who was just doing manufacturing to coming straight into digital product management.
Mhm.
So over the years, I think the one thing which has stood with me is my curiosity and passion towards solving the customer needs. I think
Mhm.
those have been quite critical, and a deep understanding around data-driven decision making. So this
Mhm.
is something which is very, very crucial. And like for example, how to translate large data sets into features that meet the client's needs, right? That's very crucial.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think the cross-functional collaboration has been reinforced with these roles,
Mhm.
how you interact with stakeholders and everything. So
Mhm.
like working with engineering, sales, customer success teams to deliver products, which is like providing value to your customers. So overall, that's been my journey, and that's how I been introduced into product management, and that has become my profession. And now I love doing product management.
Awesome. So quite an interesting journey from like manufacturing FMCG to digital product management now.
Correct,
So thanks for
correct.
sharing your journey with us. Um, so I wanted to understand, you mentioned something about customer needs and data-driven decision making, cross-functional collaboration. So just a fundamental question. So what are different stages of a product? Like it could be in a very initial stage where it's very new, or it could be in an advanced stage where the product has matured. So how do I know in what stage my product is, and how should my product strategy differ in each stage?
Yeah. So as humans have a definite lifespan, right? Starting with birth, and then there is ultimately concluding with death. Products do follow a similar life cycle, right? So have you used a BlackBerry phone, Aditi,
Personally,
by
I
any
haven't,
chance?
but I have seen what the
Yeah,
concept, yeah.
correct. So let's understand this with the help of an example of a BlackBerry phone. So BlackBerry phones back in 2000s, early 2000s were known for their physical keyboards and their email secure facilities, which was there. So their TG was mostly the business professionals, like how can these business professionals be more efficient in sending across mails, interacting with each other on a real-time basis. So it was a kind of a status symbol. In around 2006 and odd, they acquired the markets and they became the market leader in that space of mobile phones. However, the advent of the iPhones of the world or the Android smartphones actually started eating into their market share, and then there was like a continuous degrowth which was seen. And
Mm.
ultimately, in 2016, BlackBerry decided to discontinue their phones, right?
Yeah.
So what did we learn from this entire journey? So if I summarize, there are 5 stages of a product which we understood from a BlackBerry of the span of 16, 17 years, what we understood, right? The
Mm.
first step is to understand what is it called as the ideation stage.
Mm.
Ideation stage is nothing but there is a concept you convert it into a product or a service. So
Mm.
that's the basics of ideation. Once you have the ideation, the product is ready, you introduce it to the market. Now, to introduce it to the market, the product and service is introduced to the desired TG. So in this case, BlackBerry introduced it to the business professionals which were there. Growth stage means there is a sudden spike in demand. People start using this product quite rapidly. There is a word of mouth that, hey, this is a good product here in the market. Why don't we use it? And
Mm.
then there are referrals happening. People start buying more. So there is a demand of suppliers. There is more competition in the market because of that, right? And then which ultimately goes to the fourth stage, like maturity stage. You have
Mm.
captured a decent market share. You are doing pretty good. You are doing well.
Mm.
So many a times companies tend to evolve to ensure that they continue their market share and all. But some
Mm.
companies, like for example, BlackBerry was not able to maintain that market share, and then they could not innovate themselves. And that's where they had to go to the fifth stage, which is the decline stage. So
Yeah.
that's where they declined, and there is a discontinuing of the product which happened. And ultimately, in 2016, there was this degrowth happening, and then this product is discontinued. These are the 5 stages which are there. Now
So
coming back
which one was
to,
the
yeah,
second stage? Sorry, first was ideation, third was growth.
so first is ideation, second is your introduction, third is your growth stage, fourth is your maturity stage, fifth is your decline. So decline means the product is discontinuing. So mostly people see products or the brands mostly revolving around their growth and maturity stage. There's
Hmm.
many a times people reach that ideation and introduction stage, but they don't achieve that desired growth. And once they achieve the growth, then there is a maturity stage is something which you need to keep on continuously innovating and doing multiple. That's where strategy comes into picture, right? To ensure how they remain successful in that stage, and they don't reach the fifth stage, which is the decline stage.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. So how does my
Yeah.
product strategy evolve as I move across stages?
Right. So product strategy. So to do that, first we'll understand what is a product growth strategy, and then maybe how it evolves. We'll understand.
Yeah.
So growth strategy is nothing but it's a plan which outlines how you increase your revenue, your market share, or how to increase your overall size of over a definite span of a period which for which you are looking into, right? So normally growth stages, growth strategy is divided into 4 types, I would say. Okay. So think of it as a 2 by 2 quadrant. Okay. 2 by 2 matrix. So 4 quadrants. The first quadrant, the first x-axis or one of the axis is your market. The other axis is your product. So it's like existing products in existing market, existing products into new market, new products in existing market, new products in new market. These are the 4 things, 4 quadrants which are there.
Mhm.
So the way I spoke, existing products in existing market is the least risky. It's the easiest of the one to enter, and that's the first part of the growth strategy. Like if you know something, you just start with this stage, and this is basically the existing products in the existing market. And the most difficult one is the new products in the new market, where everything is completely unknown, and that's
Mm.
where you go into that stage once you have more the risk-taking appetite is there, you are well funded, depending on the external and internal dynamics which are there for the product. That's how you decide. So yeah.
So,
So
but why
mostly
would someone
to answer
build
your question, yeah. Sorry.
just one question? So why would someone build an existing product in an existing market? Because it's not something new that they're building. Maybe they're building a uh, uh, tweaked version of the same product and offer
Correct.
some additional, but otherwise doesn't make sense to build an existing product in an existing market, right?
Correct. So existing products in existing market, if you look at around it, we'll take an example of Blinkit, right? Blinkit or let's say Zeptos of the world, right?
Mm.
So what did they do? uh, you build a product, but the first part of the growth is to capture the market. That's called as the market penetration, existing product in existing market. So you want to capture and penetrate into the market, which is there to get a good market share. Now, existing products in new market is nothing but your market development, right? I want to enter into a, let's say, tier 2 market. After I capture the urban cities or the tier 1 cities, I'll go to tier 2. That's a new market for me, right? Product development is what you want to build specific products for which is having a collaboration or a new product led growth which are happening over there. So let's say Blinkit can collaborate for tier 2 cities, certain products which are very niche and something which will be more selling over there. That's a new product in the existing market of tier 2, which is there as an example. And the last bit can be the complete diversification, like in tier 2, certain new products, or let's say in some other markets like a Singapore market or something, where they want to launch something which and that's a completely a new product which is specific to the requirements of Singapore, or let's say in US they want to do something. So that's how I look at it, the way you have to look at it. So
Understood. Understood.
yeah,
Okay, that's quite interesting. 4 types we have depending on new market or existing market and whether it's a new product or an
correct.
existing.
So this is
Depend
basically called as the Ansoff metric. It's named as the Ansoff metric basically. So,
Okay.
but how you utilize it and how do you cascade into a growth strategy, that's the crucial aspect over here. So yeah.
Understood. So that's a nice framework. Now, let's say, depending on wherever my product lies, my growth strategy may change. Um, is there any, like, how can one leverage analytics and data to define a solid growth strategy, uh, depending on
Correct.
where my product lies?
Right. So before we jump into this data and analytics, a very important facet is to understand what the business is doing, basically evaluating your internal and external circumstances to define a growth strategy. And that's where the data and analytics creeps in, right? So normally what we use is called as the 5C strategy, which we normally use, like what is the vision of your company? So we'll take again the example of Blinkit in this case, right? So Blinkit vision is it's a well-funded product. The goals are like meeting the needs of the customer, and it's quick commerce, right? That's what they wanted to do.
Yep.
Customers, PB is again the urban customers at this point of time. Your competitors is the customer service is the differentiation which we are trying to solve, right? Collaborators is basically leverage the ecosystem of Zomato. So you already have your suppliers who are solving the needs by bringing in food from the restaurants. Now, why can't they solve the pain points of quick commerce, which is there, right?
Yep.
Climate, if you look at it, it's basically the economic growth, and people are willing to buy from these kind of quick commerce companies, right? People have the appetite to pay for these. Once
Mm.
you have all these aspects, I think that's where you look at the data points and then you decide that, okay, this makes sense that I invest in some of these aspects. And then you determine certain factors, right? So I'll take maybe 3 to 4 examples of how you have to look at these factors. One can be around customer segmentation, right? So segmentation is to gain growth. Spotify targeted the premium users within their segment, within their user base, right?
Mm.
So they
Mm.
wanted, they reached out more to them. They did ads for them. That's what Spotify did. One another angle can be to look at the behavioral side of things, right? So another example is Dropbox, right? Dropbox noticed that users who uploaded a file in the first session were more likely to stay engaged. And that
Okay.
became a part of their retention strategy and growth, right? So they use this insight to nudge the users to upload files immediately, and that led to boost in retention and everything. Similarly, look at Amazon, right? So Amazon uses the predictive part, right? So Amazon uses predictive analytics to recommend products to users based on their past behavior, which again boosted their net new sales and everything because you know what they have bought in the past and what are they likely to buy. So that's why
Mm.
they use this kind of a strategy. Yeah, data and analytics is crucial in evaluating what is needed for the using the 5C approach and then defining the growth strategy like whatever that market or the product and which quadrant you want to like, and then understanding the various flavors of it, like is it a behavioral side or is it a customer segmentation or the predictive side. There are multiple ways to look into this. Right? A/B testing you can do. Airbnb did that A/B testing.
Mm.
So multiple things you can do around it.
Understood. So we have some frameworks. First, we define what are the 5 stages of a product. Then we define the 4 type of products that are there, depending on the market, whether it's new, existing, and the product, whether it's new, existing. And once we have that clarity as to where my product lies, then I can define these 5 aspects, which is vision, customers, competition, collaborators, and climate. And wherever I'm lacking, based on that, I can define, I can look at data. What's my customer segmentation? What's the behavioral data telling me? And
Yeah,
are there strategies like predictive analysis, etc., which I can do to define my growth strategy. But in
correct.
general, for each stage of these, like the 5 stages of product, is there any primary goal that I should keep in mind? Like, for example, ideation. I would say I need to, before I build the product, I need to ensure that this idea is actually valid. That's one goal. Similarly, for other stages, there could be some goals that I could keep in mind. So what are those? How can I define those primary goals for each of these? My depending where my product is. in which stage my product is? How should I like visualize the goal for each of these stages?
Yeah, lovely question. So just to clarify the last part of that summarization which you did, I think you summarized it pretty well. One important thing over there to note is the growth strategy framework kicks in only for the growth stage. That is the stage 3 of the product cycle, right? For introduction or ideation, it doesn't matter to define a growth strategy because you don't have a product market fit or you don't have a product in first place.
Yeah.
So we'll come to the goals, but I think that's very crucial for users to understand that, hey, first I define what are the various stages of the product. Once I know that there is a growth phase which has come in or kicked in, how will I know a growth phase is kicked in? If I see, so normally people use the Porter's 5 forces, right? Five forces which are there. So using that, you will know that, okay, there is an increase in supply, there is an increase in demand, or other things like competition is kicking in, right? So based on that, you know that your product is ready to enter the growth phase, hence a strategy is needed. So you define what should be your strategy based on your risk-taking appetite amongst the 4 quadrants. You define which is your quadrant. Use those factors, what you summarize, that is the behavioral, and then use the data and analytics to prepare that specific for your given product, how those flavors can be, right? So coming to the goals of each of these stages, so for stage 1, it's pretty sure and very easy to understand it. It's the ideation. So you need to build a product or a service for that. That's the goal for that stage 1 or the first stage. The second stage is introduction. So product market fit with whatever set of users you do, you should, and within your TG, you should know that at least there is traction, people are using it. Mostly you measure it with the satisfaction scores. And maybe to some extent you should have some profitability metrics which you can have, like there should be a plan to ensure that you reach the profitability which is there. But yeah, so that's about the stage 2. Third stage is growth, which we already discussed. Maturity, you need to know that the market share is a very good indicator of what is your market saturation, market penetration, and everything. The last stage is decline. If you see that your market share is depleting, that's a sign of worry. Right? I think for stage 4 and stage 5, the goals are pretty similar. So that's how you have to look at it.
Understood. Makes sense. So this is a good framework through which I can identify where my product is in terms of which stage my product is currently in. Let's double click a bit on
And
the
to add to this, I'll just add one more thing to this. In the growth stage, further you need to, if you want to measure some of the metrics, maybe you can use a specific framework also within the growth stage. So that is something which will help you also. So normally the acronym which we use is called as the HEART as an acronym. It stands for happiness. So where you measure the user satisfaction and the user emotional response. So mostly the metric is around NPS, CSAT or anything. You want to also measure the second letter is E, which stands for engagement. You assess how users are actively interacting with the product which is there. So basically the daily active users, all those metrics which you see, right? With using this acronym, it's very easy for you to keep a track of what are the important metrics which are there. Third one is adoption, that is A. So you see that how many users are signed up for this. So your acquisition, top of the funnel, and how are you acquiring the customers? That becomes crucial over there. Retention is basically you want to understand what is your repeat rate and the churn rate so that people are using it. It's not, and the LTV goes up, right, for a product which is there. And the last is that's more around an input KPI. So how people's productivity are improving. That's productivity improvement. How, right? So how are you adding value to the user? So it's more important in a B2B context to know that your productivity is improving. B2C mostly, I think it's more around value, but yeah, B2B products tend to provide automation, and that's where the productivity improvement. So that's called as the task success. So this is the five measures you can do for your growth stage to keep a track of are you in the right direction or not within the growth stage.
Understood. Yeah, that's quite interesting. The HEART acronym, which is H for happiness of the user,
Happiness, E
E
for
for
engagement.
A for adoption, R for retention, and T for task success, or how productive the user is, or how much value they see in the product. So that's
Correct.
quite
It's basically measuring the efficiency and effectiveness of an user post using your product. So, is he finding the true value? Is he becoming effective? And that's around it.
understood. Amazing. Pretty nice frameworks we got so far.
Yes.
Okay, so we can do a double click on the growth section or growth part.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like growth hacks that you have implemented in your career that you think someone else could use in B2B context or B2C, like whatever you want to share?
Sure, sure. So I think as a product manager, I've been lucky to be a part of organization which were in the growing phase, in the growth phase. So I did introduce products in different stages. Like obviously in the introduction stage was there. Some products at least had some ideation. Like for example, I had normally if you see just one minute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think my Bluetooth got disconnected. Just one. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so at Highcare, I had the opportunity of launching a service called as a mosquito service. Now, normally you would have seen for mosquito there are products which are there like the All Out, the Mortein coils, and everything. But we launched an innovative service, and now it's prevalent in 3 to 4 cities within India. So
Mm.
that was one of the launches from ideation which we did. Yeah. So coming back to my experience, we'll start with HighRadius, my current company. So HighRadius, quick background, it's a B2B SaaS fintech company,
Mm.
and we are targeting to provide automation for the office of the CFO. So uh, around 2020, 2020, um, there was so what we had done is we were building products. um, we had already got market penetration.
Mm.
So the existing product was there in the existing market, that is
Mm.
enterprise clients in the North America market. But
Mm.
within North America, there are certain sections we are not catering to. That is any company which is less than a 1 billion revenue, which was there.
Mm.
So that's where you need to have a product which is slightly less costlier for them, and
Mm.
so that their propensity to pay is less.
Mm.
So we launched a product for the mid market.
Mm.
So that was a huge success. So that's how we entered the newer market share, the existing product within the existing market, but with a slightly more changed nuances which was there. That was the market penetration.
Mm.
So instead of offering 20 features, we offered, let's say, 5 features out of it. So that
Okay.
that became easier for the end users to pay, and those were the most important must-have features for the
Yeah.
product as a tool, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Market development, let's say second phase, the second quadrant,
Mm.
that's when we decided that, okay, we have saturated North America. Let's go to EMEA region. That's where we said we launched our product in the existing product in the new market that is launching in the EMEA region, which was there, right?
Mm.
And then the product development, that's when we said that, okay, um, why don't we introduce new products in the existing market? So within North America, we introduced products like record to report, account payables, treasury, all these products which are I think in the same space as an account receivables, which is there, which was our existing product. So
Mm.
so that those were the product development. That is quadrant three. That is
Mm.
new products in the existing market. And
Mm.
ultimately, when all these things will happen, that's when we'll go into diversification, where the office of CFO has 7 to 8 products.
Mm.
So we are currently in 4 or 5 products which are there.
Mm.
And that's where we will be diversifying and becoming a market leader in that space. So that's how HighRadius was able to increase its revenue, increase its market share, and that's how the growth happened. That's the strategy aspect of HighRadius. Okay?
Interesting.
So that's at
Interesting.
HighRadius. Yeah. Now coming to Highcare, that's more of a B2C company. Highcare, if you guys don't know, it's more around the hygiene services. It has been currently acquired by Rentokil India. Rentokil. Have you heard about Rentokil?
Um,
Um, Okay, it's more around pest control industry, but it's a digitized form of pest control industry. So normally, I carried a service of around the order value was around 1,200 rupees
Okay.
for an AMC contract. We led a product-led growth. That's basically new products in the existing market. I'm stressing on this quadrant so that people can correlate to that framework. So we launched a hygiene-based cockroach control. So what we did is we introduced club kitchen cleaning, sanitization, which is proposed the COVID. It became very new normal, and then we used a cockroach control service with in a sustainable manner. For example, we provided cockroach repellent garbage bags. So normally people don't provide that. Right? So we provided for a year to our end customers a cockroach repellent garbage bag. So if they use that, because garbage is the main source of food, right? So for cockroaches, there are four things which are important. Step one is 4D approach, we call it, right? Deny food, deny shelter, deny entry, and then destroy them. So deny food, that's where the cockroach bags came in handy over there. Deny shelter, that's where all the cracks and crevices were sealed with using silicon gel. So that those becomes a tactical aspect, but the most important aspect is your the understanding that which is the strategy you want to target, and once you know the strategy, I think executing that becomes crucial. So
And
that was a product-led innovation which happened at iCare. And similarly in Savlon also, um, again, it was a partnership which we did with Chota Bheem. So if you see normally in Savlon products, you will see Chota Bheem over there. So that's how we targeted new set of customers. So it's basically the existing product in the new market, which is a new TG, which we identified that, hey, kids' festive power is going to be crucial. So instead of targeting the adults, we wanted to target the kids' festive part. We partnered with Chota Beam and ensured that can we revamp the packaging completely and make it more lucrative for kids? Because once kids' festive power kicks in, parents do yield in. So that's how
understood.
it becomes easier for the
This was
focus.
mostly the marketing-led initiative.
Yeah, it's a market development. That's the second quadrant, which is the
Understood. Interesting. So, I, what if I'm reading correctly, it's mostly either you build existing product in a new market, you identify a new market which is unserved, and you serve the existing product, depending on
yeah,
like how cost sensitive that market is, you may tweak your existing product value
correct,
proposition. So in your case,
correct.
it was a market which was a little bit cost sensitive, so you reduce the number of features being offered, but you
Yeah,
were able to.
some way the ticket size is reduced in some way so that people are willing to pay for your service.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting strategy. Or you just build new features or new products in an existing market, which you gave an example both in B2B and B2C scenarios. And then you can do market development, like tap in a new market just through your marketing initiatives. You don't have to really build a new product. So all of those are great initiatives. So, but how do I know which strategy is best for me? Like, how do I identify the right solution?
Lovely. And it's very critical to know which strategy is the right one for you. And that's where I think we need to understand as I told you, there's a 5C framework which we use, right?
Mm,
So again, we'll take Blinkit's example, which I was explaining.
mm,
So if you look at Blinkit, right, uh, they are currently, they launched this service, I think, recently
mm,
in less than a year since they recently launched this quick commerce service. So I think the 5C approach which we followed, right? We understood the external and the internal factors, evaluated them with our data analysis, and we understood that, hey, based on that, primary focus for Blinkit as part of their strategy should be to first look at the low risk elements, that is
mm,
capturing or penetrating the market with their current service offering which they have, right? So, so for example, Blinkit should ideally the growth strategy of Blinkit should be that you should first go into market penetration or market development. That's quadrant one and quadrant two. So, as part of it, as tactically, what they can do is they can do targeted marketing campaigns to attract more users in the urban area. So Google Ads, specifically targeted for the TG, which for which I want to capture that market, right? Enhance customer retention techniques through loyalty programs, personalized promotions, referral incentives. These are more short-term hacks which people need to do at Blinkit. That should be the primary focus at this point of time, that they capture the market immediately before the competition kicks in. I don't know if you have heard about this concept of growth blitz scale. So blitz scale is doing that. It targets speed over efficiency. Like if you capture the market at any cost, that's something which will help the at the end of the once you capture the market, it becomes more successful. That so the cost which you bear with it is slightly uncertainties and other things, but it's worth it at the end of the day. So that's a new concept which people
Can you
and
talk about
companies are,
that? Speed over efficiency. Can you elaborate a bit?
yeah. So speed over efficiency is nothing but if you do an organic way of growth versus an inorganic way of growth, I think the inorganic way is what is being chosen by few companies because the first mover advantage is so beneficial that even though if there are some errors happening in that process, you are willing to take that risk. It's like looking at a glass half full rather than glass half empty. So normally what we think is, hey, if I do this, there are so and so risks which are there. But if you look at it the other way around, it's like if I do this, what will I gain if it becomes a success? So that's the perspective which people are getting into. That's called as a new growth strategy, blitz scale. It's on top of hyper growth. So you would have heard about the term hyper growth, but blitzscale is a new growth strategy which is going on in the last 2 to 3 years. Yes.
Nice.
Secondary focus for your Blinkit should be once they have done that product development, that's the quadrant three, and then they can go into diversification and other things. Right? So diversification is something which I think they should be slightly cautious because it should not stray far away from Blinkit's core business model as part of their strategy. That's how
Understood.
I see this. Yeah.
Yeah, so out of all the 5 aspects, I think climate was pretty sorted. E-commerce is growing in India. Collaborators,
Correct.
collaborators were already there. As there was Swiggy, Zomato already existing. So we had
Exactly.
that was sorted. Third was competition and customers. Those are the only 2 areas where you were saying they focused. How do they penetrate the market and win against competition, and how do they serve their customers in the best possible way, which I
Exactly.
their strategy was mostly revolving around quick delivery, like 10 minutes delivery or something, if I'm not.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
2 areas where they focused, going by this framework. Interesting.
Correct.
Cool. I guess we now understand how to define product strategy, and depending on where you're in which stage of product is, and using this 5C framework. Cool. So now that we have a good idea of how to define growth strategies, how do we
Mm-hmm.
define, how do we distinguish between our short-term and long-term growth strategies? Like, how does that differ?
Correct. So when you mention short term, it's more tactical in nature. It's more, it is not a strategy because strategy ultimately has to meet your goal, which is there. So basically, capturing the market or increasing your revenue, that's something which you have to do. But yeah, I think tactically, I think you can do a lot of things like at the end of the day, your success metrics are crucial. So once you know your success metrics for that uh, growth stage, I think it's all about targeting and so, for example, launching new cities or coverage, market coverage can be one of the metric which is there. So whatever you have to do in a short-term period, you can do it like flash sale, promotions, to learn limited time discounts on popular products to stimulate immediate purchase and attract new customers, right? You can do referrals like implement referral incentives where existing products can earn rewards. But long term, that's how Uber also did, right? Uber also started off with a lot of discounts and everything, but now they are like they have cut down on the discounts and everything. That's what companies do. Even Geo started with their discounts and everything with their mobile phones and all. But now again, they have cut down on that. So that's the short-term strategy to capture the market, which is most important. Once you do that, it's all about consolidating the market, going towards profitability, which is your long-term goal, and that's a long-term metric. So that's how you look into it. Long term, you can look at technology investments like invest in advanced analytics and AI to enhance inventory management. Like how do Blinkit can ensure that their inventory management is done, their delivery routes are managed better, so that there's a customer service is the best as a differentiator, right? How can you reach them on time? How can you personalize your marketing efforts so that you don't reach out to users who are not going to use the product, right? So those are long-term investments which are there. Sustainability initiatives like packaging materials. Can you partner with packaging companies and ensure that the packaging materials are sustainable in nature? Eco-friendly packaging materials. Uh, maybe we look at long-term as a strategic partnership with particular suppliers, which are so that you have that advantage of reaching to a specific set of audience or a target customers. That gives you an added advantage, which is there. So those are the long-term plans which you have to do. But short-term is like more around immediate growth, immediate. Everything is around fast, and that's the whole purpose behind it.
Yeah, makes sense. But I guess it can be a bit tricky to find a balance between short term and long term. Like if I'm really losing my market at a very rapid pace, I may want to do some damage control and run some promotions and flash sales, etc. Otherwise, I may want to just focus on building the long term solutions, like investing in AI,
Correct.
etc. Yeah, makes
Correct.
sense.
And that's where I think what keeps you grounded is your KPIs. So you need to know what are your KPIs for which you are chasing. If the
Yep.
needle is moving in the right direction, that's where things are good. If the needle is not moving in the right direction, you have to think. That's the HEART acronym and all the KPIs which we listed down. If those are moving in the right direction, whether it's a short term or a long term, you are doing fine as long as your needle is moving in the right direction.
Understood. Makes sense.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting me, Aditi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Lovely talking to
Bye.
you. Have a good day. Bye. All right. So, okay. So just a request to all the viewers, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And do add your stories in the comment section, or if you have any questions, please put them in the comment, and do suggest what other topics we should cover in the next podcast. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.